Hey y'all, welcome back to Ashley's Homestead Adventures. Today we are in the kitchen. We are having a processing day, and the first thing that we're doing, I am working on persimmons. I was able to go over to a friend of mine's house and we went out and we picked persimmons. These are wild, native to Arkansas persimmons. So they are much smaller than your normal persimmon. And I'm experimenting. I do not know what I'm doing. Full disclosure, everything that I do with these persimmons is the first time that I'm doing it. Absolutely no clue what I'm doing. Don't know if it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. Just know that my goal, my ultimate goal, is I would like to make jam. I don't need a lot of jam. I just kind of wanted to try it this year. So I think it's going to be a struggle to get the pulp off of these. From what I have seen online, there is a ton of pulp and seed. Each one of these little tiny things has like 5 or 6 seeds in it. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, I'm trying pretty much anything I can, and I'm going to try to save what I can of the fruit to make jam, and I'm also going to try and save some seeds for Mr. Wonderful because he would like to plant them. So we will be saving seeds from these as well, if we can. I'm not sure if I can even do that right. I've never saved seeds from a tree, so I'm gonna follow my vegetable knowledge, which is not extreme, but I have a little bit of saving seed knowledge, and so that's what I'm doing. I got a sheet tray out because I'm taking them out of the bucket and sorting them for the ones that are not quite ripe yet. You want to process your persimmons, well, according to what I've learned, at like basically either just before they fall on the ground or after they fall on the ground. A lot of people actually put tarps underneath their persimmons trees and they catch them that way, so they don't fall on the ground, but they wait till the fruit falls off the tree. It needs to be very, very ripe. This is what it needs to be. So if it is this, or this is hard, they are incredibly astringent. Astringent is the taste, the flavor that you get from like a lime or lemon or orange rind. It is that chalky, puckery, it's not sour, it's bitter. And these guys will make you sit down. They're so bitter. It's something else. So anyway, I'm separating them so that I can let these ripen. They will ripen in the kitchen. But you got to stay on top of them so that they don't go bad. And then they are going, right now, they are going in my Cuisinart because I believe that I'm going to cut some of my work in half. By putting them in a Cuisinart, I put them in with the plastic paddle, not with the metal paddle, and we will see. goes against like everything that I have in nature, because if it looks bad, like too ripe, then that is the perfect time to save it. So it's really hard. And I'm just removing the caps, the little leaf caps on the ones that need it, and any leaves that may have fallen in the bucket while we were harvesting. Whoops. Accidentally threw that one in the chicken bucket. So I'm going to break one of these down for you up close so that you can see. This is the seed, okay? And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds in one little tiny fruit. But they are it tastes like orange marmalade is what they taste like to me when they're ripe. When they are not ripe, I would say that the best thing that I could come up with is you know how they make beer salt with, you know, it's like, it's with the rind of lime, lime zest, so to speak, and salt. Well, replace the salt with chalk, and so you just have the zest of a lime and chalk. That's, and I mean, make it the strongest lime zest you've ever tasted in your life. It is unlike anything I have ever experienced before, and it makes you go nen nen net for hours. It really works better when it's full, when the processor's full. They need the weight of each other to press them down so that the blade can actually work them. Oh, there goes nothing. Mash it out. No. Use that a little later, but harder's definitely working better. Or is a strainer. She used a salad spinner, but I don't know if maybe I need a bigger bowl. Oh, it's working though, guys. Look. Okay, you guys, I took it outside, sat on the porch with a glass of ice water, and I milled until I broke my spoon. And that is what my hand milling job looks like. So, and my poor spoon. So, I feel like I did a pretty good job. We'll see how much we got here. I think I have a form of one, but not after watching the, I have a press, like an apple press, and I don't think that that would work for this. And I kind of wanted to see what this was like doing it this way. So "48, 72 hours, I'll know from the way they look." Changing their, well, what will happen is they're going to start to ferment, and that fermentation process breaks down the stuff that's stuck, all of the slime around the seed, which is its protective coating. It's how it goes through the digestive tract of animals. That'll break that down, and then I will be able to rinse them off, lay them on a paper towel, and then at that point they'll be clean, and I'll be able to pick out the bad ones. There's a lot of bad ones, just from, you know, what broke in the Cuisinart or what have you. So, but there's also a lot of really good ones. So we will see. See, in your first initial, can you guys see that? Yeah. Stepping on Persimmons, and oh my god. So your first initial, when you put seeds in, you can stir them up. I don't want to use that. I just use zhuzhing them. Just get rid of the liquid. And there they will sit. Okay, I'm fixing to weigh out how much pulp I got. There is not a lot there, but there's actually a lot more than I expected. So I'm not disappointed at all. All right, it looks like I got 1 pound 4 ounces of pulp. So that's exciting. Okay, I have filled my water bath canner with water, and I have gotten 6 4-ounce jars, actually 5 4-ounce jars and 1 half pint. But I will use this one for any extra that will be eaten immediately. I really only think I need 5, and then I'll have just a little bit extra, which we'll just go ahead and put in this jar. But I'm going to drop these down in here and let them warm up with the canner so that they can sterilize. And I am so sorry, you guys. I have been working in the dark because I'm just used to working with the sunlight coming through the windows. I don't turn the lights on, and that was totally rude of me. I didn't consider you. But anyway, so our jars are in, and we are on high on the stove. We're going to let that come up to temperature, let it sterilize our jars. We have blown up the kitchen and we have our pulp over here that we are going to get into a pot with lime juice and just a teensy weensy bit of sugar, and we'll get it cooking. And for those meat eaters out there that have noticed the gigantic bag of bacon on my stove, don't judge me. I've been craving bacon, so I took a bunch of bacon out, and I've got tomatoes fresh from the garden, so I'm gonna have bacon and tomatoes. Okay, here we are. We are boiled for 30 minutes. And this is, it was 1 pound of 1.4, well, 1 pound 4 ounces of Persimmons pulp. And then I added 3 tablespoons of lime juice and a quarter of a cup of sugar. And then I added a little bit of water to this, you guys, because the consistency is just weird. It was super dry. It wasn't jam-like, and it's still not really jam-like. It's interesting. It's almost like the consistency of cheese curds, which sounds really gross when you're talking about fruit. It doesn't bother me when I eat it. I've taken a couple samples and it doesn't bother me, but it's just got a really interesting consistency. So anyway, our jars are out of the sanitizer. We are going to go ahead and get these jars filled up and back in the water bath canner. Okay, jars are filled and air pockets released with my handy dandy canning tool. And I'm just rubbing the rims of all of these with a paper towel that I have splashed some white vinegar on before I put their lids and their rings on. And the recipe calls for a 1/4 inch headspace on these guys. I'm just making sure I got my rims nice and clean. And I'm gonna end up, the big guy's gonna go in with everybody else because I ended up with actually 1 extra jar's worth. So lids and rings are on. Drop it like it's hot. Make sure everybody's got 1 inch headspace. And yes, I am aware that a couple of those canning lids are used. Do as I say? Whoa, not as I do. You should always use brand new lids when you're canning. We are pretty much still at a rolling boil. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the timer for, where's my timer? 15 minutes, recipe calls for 10, but because of my elevation, I need to go an extra 5. And I feel like I need to just make sure that I clarify, all jokes aside. And I'm a member of a Facebook group called Canning Rebels, and you know, I grew up with my grandmother canning in her kitchen, and she grew up with her grandmother that used to put lard or wax over the top of jars to seal them. So basically what I know is, I know that those 2 lids that have been written on, I know that they're used. I will watch them closely. I check all of my canning goods. Everything that I've canned, we do a good check on it frequently throughout its stored life. If for whatever reason that seal pops, it will just go away. If for whatever reason it doesn't seal today, it'll just go in the fridge and I'll make bread with it or cookies with it. I'm not really worried about it, and but it is important to not be aware and make sure that you're, you know, if you're new to canning, don't do that. But also don't be afraid if for whatever reason you can't find lids. Don't be afraid to try. If they seal, they seal. And always make sure, I mean, no matter what kind of canner you are. Sorry, I'm watching a fly. I'm gonna kill him just as soon as I get off of here. No matter how long you've been canning, you should always check your canned goods throughout its stored life. You should always be diligent about putting that on your, you know, your checklist of cleaning is going through and just checking jars, making sure they don't look funny, making sure they don't, you know, they're not bubbling or fermenting or something. And know that every once in a while you're gonna get a cracked seal. Something's gonna go wrong, and don't risk your health with it. Throw it away and try again. It's okay. Don't feel like you failed. These things happen in everybody's kitchen. It's just nobody's talking about it. So I'm okay with talking about it. I'm okay with being judged. This is what's happening in my kitchen right now. I'm gonna go kill that fly. I'll be back. Okay, moving on to other tasks. I need to deal with last week's eggs. These are last week's eggs that were sitting in the refrigerator at the farm stand, and of course I now have a whole new week of eggs. My eggs sit on my counter until I prepare them to either go into my fridge or the fridge at the farm stand. So the week-old eggs go in the crock pot and they turn into dog food. And I also know that I'm going to need to make some rice for this batch of dog food because I don't have any more stored in the fridge. I like to make big batches of said things, and then, you know, cater them or take them, I'll get it out, and put them into serving sizes, and then put them in the freezer. Okay, my timer just went off. I am going, sorry about the steam, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this lid. Make sure to open it away from you. Turn off the heat. Set your timer for 5 minutes. Come back when it's cooled down a bit. See what they look like. It's pretty to me. Alright. There they are. Meanwhile, I've got, these are my eggs from the fridge from last week. They go in my little hard-boiled egg maker thing. This thing's the bomb. I love it. And so I'm making hard-boiled eggs and getting eggs in the crock pot. That's what's going on the other side of the kitchen. Okay, this week's dog food egg haul. And it looks like I'm gonna do 14 hard-boiled eggs. I am putting 7 in my fridge, and it looks like we have 3 12 dozen and 2 18 packs to go to the farm stand. So those of you who are local, the farm fresh eggs are in as of when you watch this video. Got the rice started for the dogs, and all of my eggies are in their ice bath, and I'm guessing that we are going to have some interesting peeled eggs. It's a good thing I'm not making like deviled eggs for a wedding or something. Jeez Louise. Looks like these might be a little different this time. And those of you who are new to owning chickens, welcome to the Crazy Chicken Ladies Club. But don't put your eggshells, don't let your eggshells go down your sink. Not even through the garbage disposal. Don't do that. It's not good on your septic system. And I don't usually tell you guys like don't do something, and I shouldn't have said it that way, I'm sorry, but it's not good for your septic system and I don't do it. They're wonderful for your compost pile. They're wonderful to be ground up, baked. You bake them at 350 for 30 to 45 minutes and then you let them cool, stick them in the blender, blend them up, and it's a great calcium supplement for your chickens or your dogs if you home cook for your dogs. You can, like I said, you can compost them. You can, some people feed them back to their chickens. There's a lot of different things that you can do with them, but they're awesome for the garden, so mine go to the compost right now. It just depends. Sometimes I do I've done different things with them, but right now, like today, they're going to the compost. And with that, you guys, I need to go out and feed the dogs and make dinners for all the kids. And then it's about time to bring them in from pasture. So I hope that you enjoyed coming along with me in the kitchen today while we made Persimmons jam and worked on our egg production from the farm and getting it refreshed, I guess is what you can call it. I try to keep the eggs that we're selling as the freshest eggs on the farm. So, and then of course, take the eggs that have not sold and go ahead and continue making batches of dog food for my dogs because we like to feed our dogs off of our farm anytime that we can. So, hope you guys had a great day. Thanks for coming along with me, and I will catch you on the next one. Yours truly.